What's going on YouTube? It is Repulse back in another video. In today's video, we have our match review or preview, for game week 3 of the Premier League. It's Chelsea versus Fulham. It's the early kickoff, 12:30 p.m. tomorrow. Well, I guess today for many of y'all because it is 10:30 p.m. So, yeah, tomorrow morning for me, 6:30 in the morning here. So, going to be an early morning for me, but a match review will be out shortly after that. Match is done. But yeah, Chelsea play Fulham in a West London derby at Stamford Bridge tomorrow. It is a home match for Chelsea. Coming off the back of a 5-1 win against West Ham, Fulham are off of a draw. Um, I think it's against Man United. I think that was the fixture they had. But yeah, Chelsea looked great against West Ham. Fulham looked better in the second half than they did the first half against Manchester United, but were able to secure a draw. And yeah, it's Chelsea versus Fulham, match day 3 of the Premier League. And this is the match preview, so let's just jump straight into it if it allows me to. Um, Okay, sorry, I'm back. My computer is being weird, but we're looking at Chelsea's preview fixtures here. You can see the ones highlighted with the red boxes are the Premier League fixtures. Drew 0-0 to Crystal Palace on the opening day. Definitely could have won that game. Andre Santos should have bagged that goal at the end of the game. Esteval should have had a goal in that game. Didn't happen. Not going to freak out about that result. Nothing really bad happened in that game. Defense looked solid. Josh Achampong looked great in that game against Crystal Palace. Ended up winning man of the match. Um, yeah, ended up 0-0. Crystal Palace looked a lot more physical than us on the day. Had a low block going with their back five, and it was really frustrating for Chelsea to try to break that down. They weren't able to, but take a point from that game. Go on to West Ham. Chelsea win 5-1. West Ham start with an opening goal by Paqueta. Then João Pedro scores. Then Pedro Neto scores. Then who was our third goal? Enzo Fernandez scores, and then Chalaba scores, and then Caicedo scores to make it 5-1. And we win on a Friday night football. 5-1. Really, really convincing performance. Really got the fans to back the team after that game. Obviously, there's been a lot in transfer news that's kind of caused a little bit of tension between the directors and the fan base, but the team that we have right now is tremendous. We saw that in the game against West Ham. Obviously, West Ham are not that great of a side. Lost 3-0 to Sunderland. Absolutely blew it against Wolves. They were up 2-0, then lost 3-2, and then got absolutely battered by Chelsea 5-1. But as you can see here, we have Chelsea versus Fulham tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning. So yeah, we'll definitely see how that game goes. Really excited for this fixture. Obviously, a West London derby. They did end up winning at Stamford Bridge last year, but we did end up winning at Craven Cottage. We know that Pedro Neto strike on that twirl. So yeah, we'll definitely see how this game goes. See if they continue their fortune from last year. See if we can continue our fortune from last year into this fixture. Always a good matchup between Chelsea and Fulham when they do go at it. So keep an eye out. Definitely going to be an entertaining game to watch. It's just going to be very early for me. But moving on to Fulham's fixtures. This is a little messed up here, the boxes, but we'll scratch that. You can see they drew both of their games 1-1. Also won in the EFL Cup against Bristol City 2-0. And then you can see top left is a friendly. You don't really have to look at that, but played in the EFL Cup. I don't know who they drew in the third round. Definitely have to look at that, but doesn't really affect the game against Chelsea upcoming. But they drew 1-1 against Brighton. I do definitely think they deserve to win. I believe Brighton had a penalty. Um, and then Fulham nicked it at like the 90 plus 6-2, bag a draw. And then against Man United had a very, very good first half, but then Fulham had a very good second half. United scored with a own goal in the 53rd minute, and then Fulham scored in the 74th. I don't know the exact minute, but I know Emil Smith Rowe was the score for Fulham, and then Man United, it was Lenny Yoro's goal, and then it changed to an own goal. Raul Jimenez, geez, that's a tongue twister for me. I don't know why. Scored it in the match against Brighton, and then whoever Brighton's penalty kick taker scored in the match. But yeah, they drew both 1-1. They sit around mid-table right now. Chelsea are in fourth. So really really good start to the season for Chelsea. We just hope to continue that form. Um, moving forward in the games. Obviously, we have a pretty easy start to the season. No Cole Palmer tomorrow. But yeah, Chelsea are fourth right now, and then we see Leeds down in 13th, which I think I may have predicted, or I predicted them 14th. But we'll keep an eye on that. See how Fulham do this season. Obviously, one of our rivals, so a little bit of banter if they don't do well. But draw both their games on 2 points. Chelsea won one, drew one, and that has us in fourth right now. because of goal difference, obviously. 5 goals against West Ham really pushes us forward. So yeah, it's fourth versus 13th, but way too early in the season to tell where these teams are going to end up. But maybe spots where they may end up. Chelsea may end up fourth. Fulham may end up 13th. It's pretty rightful for those clubs, but 1-1, 1-1 as well for both games for Fulham. Looked decent in their performances. Obviously, Marco Silva's a great manager. Um, but yeah, you know, definitely keep an eye out for them. I think they could definitely have a performance tomorrow that Chelsea just not able to keep up with. But it's yet to be seen. Fulham haven't really excited anyone. They've had decent spells here and there, but they haven't really excited anyone in their performances. Nothing really bright happening with the club. They didn't bring anyone in, so you know nothing to really be excited on there besides the fact that Marco Silva's still your manager, because that means that anything can really happen. But do fully expect Chelsea to have their way tomorrow. If we go in terms of the lineup, you can see what I have here. I have Robert Sanchez in goal, obviously. Same back four. Obviously, Gusto started last week, but I have Reece James coming back into the fold. Maresco's resting him. Obviously did not want Reece James to get injured, so he plays in this game against Fulham. I think it was rightful to rest him against West Ham. Obviously, West Ham are not that good of a side, but a back four of James, Tossin, Chalaba, and Cucurella I think is really really good. I think Cucurella will be able to handle Traore. And then you can see up front they have Calvin Bassey. I think the lap's going to be a perfect counterpart to that. The physicality between the both. Enzo Caicedo midfield pretty much picks itself. Two of the best midfielders in the world. Caicedo probably top five midfielders in the world, top three. My personal favorite in the world. So, you know where I stand on that. But um, absolutely love the player. Picks himself in midfield as well as Enzo. Caicedo may not start though because this was his first day back in full team training today. And then obviously we have a match tomorrow, so we'll see if Caicedo is able to go the full 90. Hopefully we put this fixture to bed. Um, so Caicedo can get some rest on those legs. The three behind the lap, I have Neto on the left, João Pedro centrally, and then Esteval on the right. Obviously, I talked about it earlier. Cole Palmer is injured, and I think João Pedro is serviceable as a 10. We saw it in the game against West Ham. He looked great. Goal and 2 assists. Esteval, I think, can definitely do a job there. On that right hand side, interchanging with João Pedro, interchanging with Neto. Very, very fluid in the attack last game. Neto was able to go on the right, Esteval on the left, João Pedro on the left, Esteval on the 10. Neto on the 10, those three can intermix. I have it like that because I do fully expect the lineup to be Neto and Esteval on the wings and João Pedro through the middle. But you can see João Pedro on the wing, Esteval on the 10, Neto on the wing, Neto at the 10, João Pedro on the wing, and Esteval on the wing. It's just whatever Maresca's preference is in terms of matchup quality. Maybe they see a hole that Esteval can exploit on the right, so they play him on the right wing, or Neto can exploit something through the middle, so they play him in the 10. The lap up top, obviously, Cole Palmer is injured, so that means João Pedro drops to the 10 spot, which he's very solid at, but that means Delap does get the chance to feature up top. Um, Fully expect Gittins to come on. I do hope he bags a goal tomorrow. Or an assist just to get that confidence flowing. Hasn't really kicked on here at Chelsea. It's only been 2 games, so I'm not really going to judge him. Looks very good in the friendlies. It's just the Premier League. I think he's adapting to the pace and the style of the Premier League. Not an easy task, so as the season goes on, I do fully expect him to improve. But yeah, there's that. That's my lineup. Back four of Cucurella, Chalaba, and James. Midfield of Enzo Caicedo. Front three or front four, I guess, of Neto, João Pedro, Estevan, Delap, and then in goal Robert Sanchez, who has been tremendous to start the season as well as throughout the Club World Cup. So hopefully we got the past Robert Sanchez out the door, and there's a new Robert Sanchez in, because he has looked quality in the past couple of games. So there's that. Lot to look forward to, and time for my score prediction, which I have Chelsea winning 2-0. I expected the lap goal, and then who's the second goal? Who's the second goal that I see here? I'm gonna go with the Cucurella goal. I'm gonna go with the Cucurella goal to make it 2-0. I think Traore plays a little advanced, and then Cucurella is able to exploit that space a little bit, and makes it 2-0. I think the lap scores the first goal, and I think we do get a goal pretty early on. And then Cucurella gets another goal to put the game to bed. Chelsea win 2-0. Chelsea go 7 points in 3 games, which is pretty good record. I do think I predicted us to get 9 out of 9 to begin with, or maybe I predicted a draw against Fulham and a win against Crystal Palace. Maybe those fixtures are reversed. But 7 points to start the season is a great record that should definitely have us in the top three or top two. Depending on what happens this weekend, if we want to talk about other fixtures that are happening this weekend, we can definitely, or I can definitely tell you what is going on in the Premier League. Um, This weekend, we have games of Tottenham versus Bournemouth, which anything can happen in that game, in my opinion. We have Brighton versus Man City, and then we have Liverpool versus Arsenal on Sunday. So, if Chelsea's goal difference stands the way it is, if we get two goals there, and then Liverpool or Arsenal drop points, which one of them are bound to, then Chelsea will go ahead of them. So there's that. And even if they draw, I do think Chelsea do go above them as well, just depending on what the score is. But Arsenal haven't conceded a goal this season. Liverpool have conceded four, but Liverpool have also scored seven. Chelsea have scored five, conceded one. Tottenham scored five, conceded nil. Um, so, great defensive record for both Arsenal and Tottenham. Liverpool, not the best defensive record, but really good attack. Definitely do think they need to strengthen their defense, and I do fully expect them to get Mark Gahey in before deadline day, so there's that. But yeah, Arsenal play Liverpool this weekend. Maybe a match review on that or something. Don't really know. Aston Villa also play Crystal Palace, which is an intriguing fixture. But in terms of tomorrow, it's pretty much just Chelsea Fulham. And then there's Wolves versus Everton, Tottenham versus Bournemouth, Man United versus Burnley, Sunderland versus Brentford, and Leeds versus Newcastle. Sunday is where the big fixtures happen of Brighton, Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal. Forest play West Ham, and then Aston Villa play Crystal Palace as well. So there's that for this game week. I predicted 2-0 Chelsea win. I do think that moves us up in the league table to third or second, and then hopefully, win against Brentford and then win against Man United may see us at the top of the table. But yeah, there's that. Chelsea win 2-0. Goals from Delap and Cucurella tomorrow. Let me know what you predict down in the comments. If you did enjoy this video, please be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, it's Repulse, and I'm out. Hope you enjoy the game tomorrow. And there will be a match preview at tomorrow. Or match review. Sorry, I got them completely mixed up. There will be a match review at tomorrow. Thank you all so much for the support, as always. And it's Repulse, and I'm out. Peace.